A concept that nobody's talking about is that all ear training takes place during a specific time, and guess the news, it has nothing to do with ear training apps. Stay with me. So I know for some listening to this will be a little controversial, but indulge me just a little bit longer because so many musicians are led to believe that the process of developing your ears happens when they are away from their instrument, namely working with ear training apps, interval exercises, and so forth. This couldn't be further from the truth, as all ear training really takes place while you're practicing your bass. Now, let me add this. The ear training apps, they'll help a little bit, but the primary is when you are practicing. This is where all the real ear training really sinks in. So the reason that so many people are unaware of this phenomena is because most musicians are way too consumed with the mechanics of what they're practicing and simply do not listen to what they're playing during their practice sessions. You see, training your ear is nothing more than memorizing combinations of sounds so that you can recall them later, understand what they are, and then learn how to use them in context. So let me put it this way. If you've just practiced a minor seventh chord exercise for an hour and can't actually hear what a minor seventh chord sounds like, then you aren't listening to what you're practicing. Now, there are some factors here to take into consideration, such as short-term versus long-term memory, which I am going to talk about just a little bit later. But first, what I wanted to show you is how I would practice learning how to hear a specific sound. So what I'm going to do is take a dominant 7 sharp 5 chord and play an altered scale line and then practice this in every key. Now this serves as a great technique drill, but if done correctly, I'm also training my ears to hear this sound so that I can replicate this in context sometime in the near future. Check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this exercise down. Now it actually starts with the arpeggio, and I'm starting on the third, and I'm playing a line that goes 3, root, 3, sharp 5, flat 7. Then I go up the octave and I play the root 3, sharp 5, flat 7, and then I arpeggiate back down in 2 octaves. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so let's take a look at the altered scale line that I play. Now, we first must understand what an altered scale is. So we have the root, we have the flat 9, the sharp 9, the 3, the sharp 11, the sharp 5, and the flat 7. So the root, the flat 9, sharp 9, 3, sharp 11, the sharp 5, flat 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the 3 and I'm going to go down to the root and then play that flat 9 and sharp 9. Notice there's 2 9s within this scale, and that's going to lead me back to the 3. So that gives me a cool little scale passing tone line. Then I'm going to keep walking up the scale. Then I'm going to play that line again. Then I'm going to go up to the sharp 5. From there, I'm just going to walk back down the scale. Notice when I get to the flat 9, though, I don't go straight to the root. I go flat 9, then flat 7, and then to the root. So the whole line goes like this. Okay, so what's really important to understand is how we're going through this. We're taking this and we're taking it through every key. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to focus in so I can hear the actual characteristic of the sound of this dominant 7 sharp 5 along with this altered scale that goes with it. So in that way, when you go through this, you can sort of learn to memorize the actual sonic qualities of this so you can then keep it and then have it so you can use it later in context. That's the whole idea. You know, there's people who've been playing in wedding bands for like over 25 years that, you know, they play the tune by James Brown called I Feel Good, and they wouldn't even be able to hear a D9 chord. The actual arpeggio is actually in that song, right? And the whole thing about it is that you have to ask yourself, why does that happen? Well, it happens because they're not concentrating on what they're listening to. They're actually just focusing in on the fingerings, maybe the technique that it takes to play the line, all the mechanics that it takes to play it. But aside from that, they're not really thinking about what it actually sounds like. So then it's impossible to use that in any sort of future or parallel sort of scenario that comes up. So this is mega important for the development of your ear training. Now you go practice. Remember that in the beginning, you're going to be dealing with the whole short-term, long-term memory process, which takes a little time to cross that barrier. So when you first start practicing like this, right after your practice session, you should be able to recall the sound of what you've just practiced. Of course, returning to the grind on the following day, you might have forgotten a little bit or realized that your pitch memory is just a little bit diminished from the day before. But as you continue this process, your ability for pitch memorization and recall will get much sharper as you go through this day by day. Until next time, practice smart, work hard, and play creatively.